You have an enemy, someone who has wronged you, undermined you, spoken ill of you. Your instinct screams, revenge, avoidance, contempt. But what if I told you that Marcus Aurelius, a man who held the entire Roman Empire in his hands, who faced assassination plots and military threats, saw his enemies as his greatest teachers, not in spite of what they did, because of it. The story begins not with an enemy, but with a threat. Around 175 CE, Avidius Cassius, one of the empire's most capable generals, a man Marcus had trusted to lead the wars in Parthia, decided to seize the throne. He believed Marcus was dying, a false rumour, but enough to prompt action. Cassius declared himself Emperor of the East while Marcus was 2,000 miles away in Rome. Marcus's response was not swift punishment, it was mercy. When Cassius's own followers realized their leader's rebellion would fail, they assassinated him before Marcus could arrive. The emperor's reaction was remarkable. When Cassius's head was presented to him as a trophy, Marcus refused to look at it. He refused to see his would-be assassin humiliated. This was not weakness, this was philosophy made flesh. Years later, writing in his private journals, what we now call the Meditations, Marcus reflected on this principle. Not all enemies are external, some are internal. The anger we feel toward those who wrong us becomes a prison we construct ourselves. But understanding this principle and living it are different disciplines. Marcus wasn't denying the harm. Avidius Cassius had betrayed him. The rebellion was a threat to Rome. The wrong was real. The question Marcus forced himself to answer was, what is the appropriate response? Here's where it gets uncomfortable. Marcus understood something about human nature that most of us still resist. When someone wrongs you, they are sick, not physically, morally. They are operating from ignorance, fear, or distorted perception. They believe their action is justified. They genuinely cannot see the damage they cause, because if they could, they would stop.
Whensoever a man does wrong, he does wrong to himself, for he himself is hurt by his own wrongdoing. And so also he that is unjust is hurt by his own injustice.
Marcus Aurelius. This is the crux. Your enemy hurts himself first. The betrayal Cassius committed was ultimately a betrayal of his own virtue, his own soul. Marcus recognized this, and recognition breeds compassion. Most of us interpret this as passivity. Be nice to your enemies because they're suffering, but that's a corruption of what Marcus is saying. He's not advocating weakness, he's advocating clarity. If your enemy is ignorant or morally confused, then your job is not to retaliate in kind. It's to respond with wisdom, which might mean political pressure, military defense, or legal consequence. But without hatred, without taking their moral disease into your own soul. The second move is gratitude. This seems impossible at first, but Marcus was precise about it. When someone wrongs you, they teach you something. They reveal the limits of your patience. They show you where you still cling to things you shouldn't care about. They demonstrate your vulnerabilities.
As a man, it is thy business to be affectioned to mankind. Whosoever wrongs thee, he wrongs himself, for the bad man is hurt by his own badness. And thus also for every man that is angry, there is something wrong either in his natural constitution or in his education, for surely nature never would have made a man who had not some sort of assistance from both.
Marcus Aurelius, an enemy then, becomes a resistance trainer for your virtue. The person who insults you trains your equanimity. The person who competes with you trains your humility. The person who betrays you trains your wisdom in judgment. This is the transformation. Not that the enemy ceases to be your opponent, but you stop being their victim. You transmute their hostility into fuel for your own development. The Stoic principle here is called Premeditatio malorum, the premeditation of evils. It sounds grim, it's not. It's the act of imagining difficulties before they arise, so that when they do arise, you've already calibrated your response. Marcus didn't learn forgiveness when Cassius's rebellion happened. He'd already practiced it. He'd already asked himself, if someone I trust betrays me, how will I respond? Not as a wounded ego, as a leader who chooses wisdom. By the time the crisis arrived, his answer was ready. For us, this means a practical exercise. Who in your life represents an enemy? Not in the cinematic sense. Maybe it's a rival at work who undermines your projects, a family member who consistently criticizes you, a competitor who copied your idea. Before the next conflict, premeditate. Ask yourself, what virtue does this person train in me if I remain calm? What can I learn from their behavior? The answer might be uncomfortable, but it's liberating. The second principle is this: separate the actor from the action. Marcus is brilliant on this. He says that a bad person does bad things, but the person is not the sum of their actions. This is not sentimentality, it's tactical clarity. If you become your enemy's enemy, if you hate them as deeply as they wronged you, you've now created a cycle. Two people, both acting from injury, both blind to their own moral confusion. But if you can see Avidius Cassius not as the general who betrayed me, but as a person caught in ambition and fear who made a catastrophic error, then you can deal with him as a problem to solve, not an insult to avenge. Let's translate this to your life. Two scenarios. Scenario 1. Your boss takes credit for your work in a meeting with executives. Your first impulse, resentment, outrage, maybe a quiet seething that you carry for months. But premeditate. This person is insecure about their own competence. They're fearful of losing status. Neither of those things is actually your problem. Your response: document your contributions clearly. Communicate them professionally. If it happens again, address it directly but without anger. You've just transformed an insult into a lesson in boundaries and clear communication. Scenario 2. A friend repeats something private you told them. They've violated your trust. The Stoic response isn't to end the friendship and nurse a grudge. It's to recognize they lack discretion. That's useful information. You now know to calibrate what you share with them. And if you want to repair the friendship, you address it. Not from hurt, but from clarity. I shared that in confidence. It matters to me that you understand why I told you it was private. In both cases, you've removed the personal wound from the equation. You've treated the wrongdoing as information, not as an attack on your worth. The final move is gratitude. Not false gratitude, not pretending the wrong didn't happen, but genuine gratitude for the opportunity to practice virtue under pressure. Marcus would write this to himself, reminding himself that every obstacle is material for his practice. Next week, we're examining a different kind of enemy entirely. Not external threat, but internal corruption. When a leader chooses power over principle, what would Marcus say? That's episode 2, The Compromise of Commodus. If this struck you, if you recognized someone in your life you've cast as an adversary rather than simply as a person with a problem, subscribe. The next episode goes deeper into moral failure and why understanding it might save you from the same trap.